So you're telling this committee that the Biden administration, while they were letting all of these unaccompanied minors into the country, and as we've talked about today, they weren't keeping track of them, they issued these kids a hotline that they could call if they had trouble with the sponsor family that they were put with. And you're saying that 65,000 calls to this hotline designated to protect these kids went unanswered? Is that what you're telling this committee?
Yes, sir.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know how many staffers the administration assigned to answering these phones and helping these kids?
One.
One staffer? Any idea how many hours a day this staffer was working?
No.
Maybe that's why there were 65,000 calls that weren't answered from these little kids, huh? Unbelievable.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. James Williams, Dog Waters. I'm back. And, you know, I don't want to keep talking about Islam every damn day. I don't feel like I should have to talk about Islam every damn day. I feel like we're going through this phase with Islam that we went through with Zionism or Judaism, where we went through this like 2-week long period where everything was about a Jew and about a Jew hating somebody and a Jewish person saying this. And I feel like we're going through one of those phases, and I understand what it means when we go through this phase. Do you know what it means when we go through these phases? What it means is that there's a judgment in a process of being rendered. I'll just bring you back. Just rewind a little bit. Remember, it was Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. And it was Ben Shapiro up there with a stiff neck like this. Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. Candace Owens is saying that Charlie Kirk's wife was a part of her assassination attempt. And it crescendo with him saying that on Megyn Kelly's interview. And then Megyn Kelly, who is absolutely beautiful, decides to come out and just say, nah, this dude is lying. I still don't like how Megyn Kelly did Alex Jones when it was like perfect timing. When everybody was piling on my dude, she tried to slit his throat. It's like they sent her in there as the perfect siren. And she took her blade. She was like, I'm going to get him. She went to go like this, but his throat didn't slit. But nonetheless, that's not between me and Megyn. That's between Megyn and him. But I just don't forget those kind of things. But with that being said, Megyn Kelly turns around and she says, no, Ben Shapiro, you a lying piece of trash. Y'all remember that moment? It seems like it was a long time ago, but it was really like at the beginning of the last week or towards the end of the following week before the prior week. So it's been within the last 7 days to 9 days. And so here we go with Islam just invading our space everywhere. They're being space invaders. And then I go and I sift through the news. And of course I head on over to InfoWars to see what Alex is talking about, because anybody who tries to say that Alex don't know what they're talking about, bruh, you just a hater from a whole nother planet. Like there's haters, and then there's haters from Hatron. You are a hater from the planet Hatron. And then I see this video of these children in the schools. Now I'm pretty sure this is in the UK. I hope this ain't in America. But the children in the schools bowing down on carpets and learning how to pray to Allah. And I just was thinking, I was like, Jesus. I said it out loud. I said, Jesus, I want to thank you for not ever letting anybody try and do this with my child. Because the firestorm that would come towards that teacher would be unlike anything that humanity has ever seen. Then I said, Jesus, don't let this happen to my grandchildren, because you know I'm retarded. And this the kind of thing, Jesus, where I would go full retard. And I would go full retard. I'm already retarded, Jesus. You know I'm crazy. Something wrong with me. But this is one of those things that would make me go full retard. And it should make you go full retard. Now, I want you to let that sink in. We're gonna let that sink in for a moment. That in schools, I'm pretty sure this can't be America. In the UK, the national and local governments all push forth Islamic indoctrination. Okay, that's in the UK. I can tell you right now. You see, in the good old fashioned America, this would be such a massive problem that this would provoke violence. This will provoke violence. I'm just telling you now, it will provoke violence. And the scariest thing is, anybody who studies the news and news cycles, whatever's done in London and Europe and the UK is kind of like what's on its way here. It's almost like those idiots in the spirit realm accept things, and then somehow, magically, we as tards over here, we decide we're going to accept the same damn things they accept. In reality, they are the globalist playground and the testing ground. Well, a lot of nations are globalist testing grounds. Like China's a testing ground for all their AI and their bioweapons and their cloning and their trafficking of organs. But it seems as if the West, particularly the UK, is their practice ground for the Islamic takeover of the West. And so I'm just going to tell you now, when the video footage of this starts to come out, where there's other kids who are non-Muslim kids who are being indoctrinated, it's going to end bad. It's going to end real bad. Going to end real bad. I was at a cigar shop smoking with one of my Jewish friends who was talking about how they found someone in Lafayette, Louisiana, who was a part of the October 7th attack on Israel. And he was a tad bit agitated because he was like, the West doesn't understand that these people are very tribal and they won't give up and they're willing to die for their religion and blah, blah, blah. And he was pissy. Yeah, I can understand. He's Jewish, born and raised in Israel, came over here. And now he sees Muslims coming over here making demands and all the rest of that. And I understand that he's a little pissy. And I just told him, I said, brother, I got to tell you something. I said, this ain't Europe. This ain't Israel. I'm just going to tell you, there's a certain group of people here in America that you see these leftists acting crazy, acting a fool. There's another group of people here who real quiet and they ain't doing all that talking. And this type of stuff right here pissed them off to the highest point of festivity. And we getting close, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting real close to the point to where people start getting pissed off to the highest point of festivity. I don't know if you understand what that means. Like, this is festivity, and then this is the highest point of festivity. The highest point of festivity is off the screen. You can't see the highest point of festivity. If you actually decide to walk outside and look up in the sky, you could not spot the highest point of festivity. That's how high it is. Because the highest point of festivity is up right there in the courts of heaven. That's where we are quickly getting to. Yeah, we're quickly getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We're quickly getting there. Stephen Miller talks about it, and I'm going to say this about Stephen Miller. I really like Stephen Miller. I really do. I don't know who, maybe 30 days ago, 45 days ago, they tabled Stephen Miller. Somebody took him out of the news cycle. Whatever genius within the Trump administration was like, oh, we're not going to have Stephen Miller go out and talk. You's a damn idiot. That man right there should be on the attack all day and all night. If I had a Stephen Miller, my Stephen Miller would be talking all the time. My Stephen Miller would never, ever, ever shut up because he is that damn good at what he does. Now, I know we went through this phase with the Trump administration where Donald Trump was making these deals. And if you've been paying attention to these videos, I told you guys, I said, hey, when Donald came out and Donald was like, he was on with Laura Ingraham. And Laura Ingraham asked him about the 600,000 Chinese. He says, I know what MAGA wants. I founded MAGA. I started MAGA. I said, oh, he about to get chastised by the Lord. When you start using the I word, I, you got problems on your hands. And if you recall, I said, Donald, you ain't do nothing. You did stuff, but you ain't do it all. The Lord did it through you. And I was like, oh my goodness, he's going to get a chastisement. And then my prayer was like, hey, hopefully it won't be, hopefully we won't have to go through too much. Because, the nation goes through what its leader allows it to go through. When the leader rebels against the Lord or gets prideful, then the nation gets punished. By the way, sidebar note for you. If your leader of your nation is doing something you don't agree with, then that's when you go into prayer. You petition, you say, hey, big guy, listen. Hey, my name was James Williams here. I came in through the course of heaven to have a conversation with you guy. Know that Donald Trump, the leader of the United States of America, I actually voted for him. But I want you to know I don't agree with what it's doing. I want you to know I don't agree with what it's doing. And I really don't want the consequences to come nigh unto my house for what it's doing. So I'm here to pray for him, that you get him on the right track. But I'm also here to say, big fella, you know what? I don't agree with that. I'm not in line with that. I'm in line with you. And I want to make sure that there's no discrepancies on the record about where I stand. Because I stand with you, okay? Then go about your business. When you see those kind of things coming, that's what you go ahead and do. That's what you need to do. A lot of people should have did that when they had that virus running around. I sure enough did it back then. Say, no, I don't want you to know, big guy. I don't agree with none of this, and I'm not stabbing myself. Nope, not doing it. So I'm gonna need you to make sure that I don't really be getting none of this sickness from these people who shedding it everywhere like snakes. Oh my goodness, I went off track. Let's get back to Stephen Miller. I'm sorry. And the reason why I do that, guys, is because, these topics are so heavy. To see children sitting there being indoctrinated into Islam at a young age is a heavy thing for you to watch. I mean, that's heavy, man. Knowing that those people want to do that to your children, and knowing that when it happens, when some stupid leftist teacher does it and it gets recorded, knowing that it's gonna pop off, because it could be a hoochie mama with a bonnet on her head, with hoochie mama pants on, with big Section 8 thighs. She know better than that. She gonna come stomping in the door. Don't you be having my child here worshiping no other God. We believe in Jesus. She gonna lay hands on that teacher. It can be a father that's off in the woods of Kentucky coming to school and see he gonna lay hands on that person. They gonna lay hands on you. And part of what the deep state wants is they want us to lay hands on people, man. That's what they want. They want us to lay hands on people.
It for your audience perfectly, Sean. This was not a loophole. The Biden administration, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, devised a scheme to fly illegal aliens into the country and then to escort them en masse across the border by the millions, and to give them something known as parole, which gives them a work permit, which gives them a social security number, which gives them access to the voting booth. This was the plan all along, to get them here illegally so they can get free government benefits, get hooked to welfare, and be able to participate in American elections. This was an attack on democracy by the Democrat Party. It's the same attack that we see, Sean, when you have California, a sanctuary state, that is refusing to turn over even illegal alien criminals and gang members to ICE. So these are illegal aliens in California who have been arrested by California police, by California law enforcement for serious crimes, for crimes against children, for felonies, for crimes that threaten public safety, and they are refusing to hand these criminal illegal aliens over to ICE. Instead, they're freeing them back into the cities to offend and offend again. By any definition, what California is doing is criminal. It is a violation of our laws. It is one of the most heinous things that I have seen in my entire...
I feel for Stephen Miller too, because I know what he's saying is true. You know what he's saying is true. We was calling it when Mayorkas was doing it. We was calling it when my Yorkers was doing it. Everybody's like, yeah, they smuggling all these people in here. We had the evidence all over the internet where they was getting their EBT and debit cards and all the rest of this. I don't envy his job though, because he's got to go out there and keep saying this over and over and over again. And some people would say it's to till the soil, to till the soil and make the ground fertile for when you do something about it. But every time you talk about it, nothing done about it, it just makes the situation worse. So Stephen Miller, you may never hear my voice. I want you to know I appreciate you, homie. I think you a genius. And I know you're a genius because you got that little thumb tick. Let me tell y'all a secret how you know when you're sitting across the table from a genius. I've been in a lot of rooms with a lot of men trying to do a lot of business. Sometimes it went good, sometimes it went bad. But anytime I saw a man sitting there and his fingers do stuff like this, and then his neck does like that, that's somebody that's like, you know how they have those kind of artistic genius people? They're smart, but they got these quirks and quirks to them because their IQ is so high that they damn near slightly artistic with their ways. That's what you're dealing with. That's what that man is right there. So when I start seeing people doing shit like this when I'm talking to them, I'm like, oh, hell, here go one of these dudes. And then I have to bring the conversation to a place that's away from their intellect and bring it to a place where it's like just pure bulldog discernment. They're very difficult to deal with. Back to the point I was making. The point I'm making is this. You see, we get ready to go into this phase where America is going to have to full on confront Islam. The confrontation of Islam is going to provoke Islam. The provoking of Islam is going to provoke them to do something stupid. So prepare for them to do something stupid. And understand that it's a necessity for them to do something stupid. Because there's a portion of America that's brainwashed. They're under this spell. If you were alive during 9/11, when the planes hit the Twin Towers, if you were walking around, if you were of age where you could see a television and comprehend what was going on, then you know and you understand what that did to the nation. Now, remove the fact that it was a false flag. Remove the fact that you'd be like, oh, well, it was Israel. It was this person. Don't just take all that out of it. Well, how can you remove it? Just trust me. Remove that for a moment. Remove the truth of the matter. Because the truth of the matter is a lot more complicated. You got the other building that just blew up all of a sudden out the blue. They demolished it. You got the clear, obvious demolishing of those buildings into one place. You got the clear, obvious, jet fuel melted the building, they collapsed. No, that's a whole bunch of bullcrap. We know it's bullcrap. But the point I'm making is, what was the reaction of the American people when that happened? America was ready for war. Now, George Bush used that to take us to war, do a whole bunch of other crazy crap. The whole scenario wasn't organic. We know this. But what happens when there's an organic scenario? What happens when there's an organic scenario in the environment of social media? See, there wasn't no real social media when that happened. What happens in the environment where there's an organic scenario? Boom! Body parts flying all over the place, blood splattered on walls, buildings, giant craters blown into the ground. And then the American people realize who did it. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Donald Trump, I don't care what nobody says, is an honest man. Because it's quite frankly, it's very, very easy to get rid of Muslims in this nation. They got CIA wind-ups. They got all kind of FBI wind-ups. They could blow up something in a heartbeat, turn the sentiment of American people against them, run all of them out of here. He ain't done that. In some cases, some would say, many would say, that's what should be done. I don't agree with it. I would understand it if it was done. I don't agree with it. But I will say this. When the organic scenario plays out, when something finally blows up, all hell gonna break loose. And it ain't gonna break loose for me and you. It's gonna break loose for them. Just look at what happened when we got the shooting of the National Guard's people. It was an opportunity to open the floodgates for Donald to say what he needed to say. The problem I have is you should have said what needed to be said, regardless of anybody getting shot. We can't wait until they commit a crime. We need to deal with them now and get it over with. The left is going to lie about you. The media is going to lie about you. They're going to call you this. They're going to call you that. It's how we got in a situation where Kilmore, Brigger, Garcia is still in this nation. Just need to get it over with, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to be tough? Yep. But it's something that we need to deal with. Because the other option is watching some church blow up, watching some parade blow up, watching someone else drive down Bourbon Street and roll over 100 people, blood all over the brain, spilled all on the concrete. That's the other option. That's the other option. And that means we have no option but to get rid of these people. And that people say, well, James, there's good Muslims. Pretty sure there is somebody that's good. I'm pretty sure they are. I don't know them. I'm pretty sure they are. Fact of the matter is that don't matter. That's the reality. It don't matter. You can't assimilate into a nation. Then you need to go back to your hometown. Go back to your home country where you ain't got nothing. Go back to where you came from if you can't assimilate. If you feel you're going to dominate, go back over there and dominate. You cannot allow it, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the last point I want to make is Mayorkas. Stephen Miller, if I was you, I would have stuck to the main line of what Mayorkas did. Mayorkas is the biggest human trafficker and child smuggler in the history of the world.
Mr. Gallant, are you an attorney, sir?
I am.
You know, when I was a cop, we had a common saying, a bit of a chuckle. We'd say that I've known many convicts I can trust in my life and very few attorneys. You're here representing the ACLU, sir. Do you speak on behalf of the ACLU this day?
Yes.
You're here voluntarily?
Yes.
Are you here with counsel or are you by yourself?
I'm by myself.
Congratulations. These 85,000 missing children. What's your opinion about that? How's the ACLU feel about 85,000 missing children?
So,
You think their civil rights might be being violated?
our view is that those children are not likely missing, that the sponsors don't simply answer the phone.
Yeah, the sponsors are not real. You know that, right? It's a racket. It's a sponsor racket. That's why they're not answering the phone. That's why you can't find who they are. The vast, large percentage of these sponsors, these kids are getting sucked into sex trafficking primarily, human slavery. The policies of this administration are supporting that. We're partnering with the cartels with human trafficking.
That is what Mayorkas is. And saying anything else about Mayorkas is just repeating things that people have already heard. You need to hit him with the hardcore truth. He is a child smuggler. And he needs to be arrested. And anyone that supported him is a child smuggler. And you know the worst part about that? The worst part about how they did it was they got all the Border Patrol involved into the smuggling. Because that's what evil does. The philosophy is sin together to win together. I don't know if you ever heard of it. If you heard of it, then you've been out here in these streets doing some business. You've been doing some things. But they call it sin together to win together. S-I-N together to win together. So everybody commits the same fraud. Everybody commits the same sin. Everybody does the same thing. And you force people to be involved in it. They may not want to be involved in it, but you force them to be involved in it. Why? Because in order to get to you, you got to go through all of them. And that's what they did. They all forced everybody into sin. Into harming the least of them. The Bible says, better for a man to tie a millstone on his neck and be cast in the sea than to lead one of these little ones astray. Well, Mayorkas led a whole bunch of little ones astray. And that's, Stephen Miller, why we got to deal with it as a nation. And that's why you can't play with it. That's why you can't pussyfoot around with it, Donald Trump and Stephen Miller. because it's not just a natural thing, it's a spiritual thing. Can't play with it, homie. Can't play with it. Got to tell it like what it is. You got to do what you got to do. The rest of it, God gonna do. And you know, that's the craziest part about this to me, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm supposed to be showing y'all some kind of video. You know, people's attention span be short. Maybe I should just pause and hold on. Let me pause and just play something for you to look at. Here we go. Look at this.
Tampa Bay Islam event going undercover. Pray for me. So I made myself inside here and well. No, it's all right. Not welcome, right? Huh? Christians aren't welcome here in Tampa, Florida. Where you sitting United inside? States, United States Senate candidate here in Tampa. I have photos of you sitting inside and a video of you sitting inside. Yeah, did I make a disturbance? No, but I'm not welcome back here. But why are you doing this then? No, because I've been kicked out. I've been identified and kicked out. Who kicked out? He said I'm not welcome. This man over here said I'm not welcome. You're trying to agitate our I didn't agitate. I sat there to listen to a message. Yeah, and you learned.
Distracted long enough, good. Jake went into a mosque to record and they kicked him out. Well, it only makes the point even more clear. The point I'm making to you is this. When you're dealing with things of spiritual nature and you call yourself a Christian, then you need to understand who fights your battles. The Lord fights your battles. The Bible says, the Lord will fight your battles and you will hold your peace. Hold on, I'm going to give you scripture after scripture. Let me read something to you. Let me read a couple of them to you. Hold on, because we did a court case today on this in prayer. Robbie Dawkins. I don't know who the hell Robbie Dawkins is. Hold on. This dude retarded. Here we go. Here, watch this. Exodus 14:14. The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Deuteronomy 1:30. The Lord your God shall fight for you. Joshua 23:30. The Lord your God is he who hath fought for you. You see, there are certain criteria that we need to meet, and we need to do everything that we can do and push it as far as we can push it. Then it comes a point where ain't nothing else you can do. And then that's when you reach the point where you say, okay, Lord, as a nation, we don't want this child trafficking. We don't want this child smuggling. We don't want none of this foolishness. So this is what we can do by law. I'm going to do everything I can do and push it all the way to the limit. Push it to the limit. Standing on a razor's edge. We got to go stand on a razor's edge and then let them fight. And say, hey, you had said, Lord, that you was going to fight our battles for us. I done did everything that I could do on this issue. I need you to step in. So there's no way Mayorkas should be running around at all. Somebody should have went and picked him up. And of course, the whole system is going to defend him and try and let him out and let him free. That's what the system does. And then that's when I say, hey, God, this man smuggled all these children. He trafficked all these people into this nation. How many people died on the way here? How many people was raped? How many people was murdered? How many people was exploited? We done did what we need to do to put them in prison. Now they won't let them out. So we coming to you for you to deal with this situation. But I did everything I can do. Having done all, stand. Is what it says in Ephesians. Problem is we don't do all. Because there's this fear that the empire is going to strike back. Problem is the empire is going to strike back regardless of what you do. So, for example, take Stephen Miller. Again, I'm not talking bad about Stephen Miller. I love Stephen Miller. I think he's a freaking genius. I love me some Stephen Miller. But the truth of the matter is this. Stephen Miller, you call him what he is. He's a child trafficker, a human smuggler. He brought the whole nation under a curse by having the American people become human smugglers. And we reject that. We are not human smugglers. We're not child traffickers. Put the word out on him for what he really is. And then see what happens. Call them for what they are. And then see what really happens. That's why I like this dude right here. This little dude right here. What's his name? Jake Lang. Well, I like Jake Lang. That dude right there. I don't know everything about Jake Lang. Jake Lang don't know everything about me. I'm pretty sure he got some skeletons and clouds and things he said that ain't right. Everybody's wrong in a certain type of way. But you know what I like about Jake Lang? You know what I like about Jake Lang? Jake Lang is out there doing it. He went there and got kicked out. And in the process of them fighting him, he exposes them. Even more, what Jake Lang don't understand is Jake Lang just walking in there brings a judgment against them. Jake Lang standing in opposition to them brings a judgment against them. Jake Lang taking action brings judgment. That's the truth of the matter. And this is where I feel for Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all the rest of these people. And even Alex Jones is because, you know, the average person, they don't understand the role that they play in dealing with evil. They think it's enough to sit back and know, oh, well, you know, did you know that the Muslims did such and such? Did you know that 9/11 was an inside? You think the knowing is enough, but there's no doing. Everybody's got social media. Everybody, you watching me on social media. You can all open up a YouTube channel and all y'all could be InfoWarriors. I said it 1,000 times. Everybody should be active. Because this is where the battle is right now. When the battle leaves off of here, then that's when it's time for us to stop talking. When the battle switch off, there ain't no more talking. James ain't coming on here talking. Ain't no time to be talking. But while the battle's here, everybody needs to be fighting. Hit the like button, by the way, so we can get to the algorithm. Yeah. Everybody needs to be fighting, man. Everybody needs to be fighting. We'll see y'all on the next video, homie.